In 2021, Breitling released the Premier B09 Chronograph in pistachio green. That's a great looking watch and it received a lot of love from the watch community. Now, I don't own that watch, but I've worn it and I really liked it. However, that watch cost $8,600. But what about a watch from a micro brand that looks the part but costs almost 20 times less? Meet the Corniche Demande Speciale 3. Before we dive in, let's have a brief look at the background of this brand. So why the name Corniche? The French word Corniche translates to a road cut into the edge of a cliff, especially one running along the coast. This describes many of the mountainous routes along the French Riviera that inspired the founders of this brand. Now you would think that the brand must be French, but it's not. Corniche is based out of Stockholm, Sweden, and its founders spent parts of their childhood in France, and this experience has inspired the brand and all its watches in some way or another. Corniche was founded in 2013 and currently makes 16 different models. In June 2022, Corniche came out with this watch, a salmon dial chronograph. And with this one a few months later, a blue dialed version of this chronograph. In January 2023, Corniche came out with this, the green dial version of the Demande Speciale. All three Heritage Chronographs have been limited edition releases, with Corniche making just 200 to 300 of each dial variation. Now coming to this watch, I was impressed by it starting with the unboxing itself. The watch comes in this very nice piano lacquered presentation box. I think this is very good given that the watch costs less than $500. It's good to see that Corniche haven't cut any corners here. Now that we have the unboxing out of the way, let's talk specs. This is a chronograph watch with a steel case measuring 39mm wide and 11.5mm thick, with a water resistance of 50 meters. The lug-to-lug width is about 48mm, while the width between the lugs is 20mm. The dial is this pista green color with applied numerals. The watch face is protected with a mineral crystal with double AR coating. The watch comes with a glossy black leather strap with a deployment clasp. This watch is powered by a Mecha Quartz movement from Seiko, and I'll talk more about this movement in a couple of minutes. Finally, this watch is priced at around $485. Okay, so what's special about this watch? Let's start with the dial. This watch has a really nice pistachio green dial with applied Breguet style numerals. While these look good, having them a little bigger would have looked even better in my opinion. Nevertheless, I think while designing this watch, Corniche got a Breitling B09 and ensured that the Demande Speciale dial and the case look the same. Breitling has done their dial perfectly, so it's no surprise that this dial is pleasant to look at, with the color being neither too subtle nor too overwhelming and in your face. This watch looks good indoors, but it really shines when taken out. The green dial pops in sunlight, but wouldn't look too flashy even in an office environment. The dial features two subdials, with the left one being the hour indicator when the chronograph is running, and the right subdial is a useful 24-hour indicator. So it's currently 10 PM at night, so the hour is at the 22 marker. The Demande Speciale comes in this 39mm stainless steel case, which is polished on the watch face and brushed on the sides. The left side features a placard with the model number of your watch, which would be from 1 through 300. The right side has a crown with two pushers. The top pusher can be used to start and stop the chronograph hand, while the bottom pusher can be used to reset the chronograph to its starting position. Now the pushers aren't the best I've seen, with them sometimes missing the press itself, but I think this can be forgiven in a watch that costs less than $500. I like the fact that this watch isn't too big and sits really well on my 6.2-inch wrists. This watch isn't too thick either, coming in at just 11.5mm, which is thin for a chronograph. For reference, the Breitling measures just over 13mm thick, and so does a Moonwatch Professional from Omega. Coming to this movement, The main reason for the slimness of this watch is this Seiko VK64 hybrid movement, also known as a mecha quartz movement. Before I explain what this is, I wanted to ask you guys if you knew what a mecha quartz movement is. I didn't till I bought this watch. So if you did know, let me know it down in the comments. So why is this called a mecha quartz movement? Because it combines some aspects of a mechanical movement with a quartz engine. So the timekeeping mechanism is essentially quartz, with the mecha coming into the equation when you reset the chronograph. The chronograph hands are disengaged from the quartz motor and are mechanically snapped back to zero when you hit the pusher. So the seconds hands instantly comes back to zero instead of sweeping back like it would do in a traditional quartz chronograph. So practically speaking, I don't think this makes much of a difference, and I wouldn't lose my mind over this mecha quartz claim. So although this movement is missing the complexity and the charm of a mechanical chronograph, I'm glad that Corniche used a trusted, reliable and most importantly inexpensive movement from Seiko. Being battery powered, you don't have to worry about winding this watch. This movement is packaged behind this closed case bag featuring a silhouette of Mediterranean pine trees that are commonly found along the southern French coast. I don't know what this has to do with the actual watch itself, but it's evident that the founders are obsessed with France. In either case, I think that the closed case back looks nice and is really well finished. This watch comes with this glossy leather strap with a folding steel clasp having a quick release function. I really like this strap. Personally, I feel that it looks like it belongs on a more expensive watch. I also really like the folding deploying clasp, and I would take it over a regular pin buckle any day. So as you can see, the strap and the wearing experience overall is pretty good. The only nitpick here would be that the steel clasp is too big and sits a little odd on my wrist. All in all, I think this is a really cool and interesting watch. For this price, I would highly recommend it. The only problem is that this watch is sold out on the official website, but you can still find it at retail price if you do a little digging. Even if you can't find one, I think it's worth keeping an eye out on Corniche. I wanted to make a video about this watch and this brand because I think that they are onto something and are generally doing the right things. One of their watches, La Grande Corniche, was recently featured in Watchfinder's video. So I think this brand is here to stay, and I'm excited to see what they come up with in the future. So what did you think of the Corniche Demande Speciale 3? Do you think it's a good watch? Do you think it's a worthy competitor to the Breitling at a budget price? Do let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks so much for watching this video. I really appreciate the support I've gotten from you guys so far. I'm just a one-man team, and it does take a lot of time, effort and research to make these videos, and I'm happy to do it for you guys. But the best way to let me know that you like this content and want to see more of it is by hitting the subscribe button. Thank you so much for that. But if you're not ready for that commitment yet, feel free to just hit the like button instead. Catch you all in another video very soon. Peace.